is Mara and welcome back to my art break life. As you can tell, it's not my normal evening art breaks. It's the daytime and the kids are in school, but they'll be home soon. So I just wanted to pop on here real quick and do a video. And I thought it would be really fun to talk about some of the art supplies in my collection, but we're gonna do it in the 7 Deadly Sins style. So this video will be about my
7 deadly sins of my art supply collection.
Okay, the first one is greed, and that would mean it's an item that I just had to have, but I didn't like it as much as I thought it would. And that item are my color pencils, specifically my Prismacolor pencils and my Caran d'Ache watercolor pencil. These guys here. Now, don't get me wrong, I like color pencils, I like using them, but I find myself not reaching for these as much as I would have thought I would. I've been seeing like all kinds of things about the Prismacolor Premiers, and I do agree. It's a really good color pencil. It's really soft. It blends really well, and it is a lot better than the other color pencils I had. So it was a really big step up. But these color pencils aren't cheap. They're not Caran d'Ache expensive, but they're still pretty pricey up there, you know? And then these pencils, these are my Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils. I got these many years ago. Like, I think when I was still in college, I had picked these up from the bookstore, and see how much I've used them? Not that much. And so yeah, I find that for color pencils, for my art style and for what I'm doing now, it is a little, like, you need patience and it's time consuming. And I don't have a lot of time sometimes during my evening art breaks. So I tend not to reach for these, but not to say I don't use them, but they're not the sole medium I use when I do my art. So they're just like side things I use on the side for mixed media and stuff like that. So these are the items I had to have, but don't use them that much and didn't like them as much as I thought I would. The next one is wrath, and that is an item you have a love-hate relationship with, and that for me would be oil paint. I love the look and the texture working with oil paint, and I just recently picked it up again, and I've forgotten how much I did actually enjoy it, the results you get. But what I didn't like was the chemicals and the smells and the fume, all that stuff about oil painting that makes it, you know,
gross and stink.
And then I would get the turpentine. And what do you do with the turpentine? And you have to dispose of it properly. It was just one of those things that I just, I hated all that extra stuff. I just wanted to paint, right? And so when I found these water-soluble oil paints from Winsor & Newton, I thought, well, maybe this is a solution to all that hate part of our relationship. And yeah, it is. So I had picked up a bunch on sale at my local art supply stationery store, and I've so far only used the primary colors, which is the red, yellow, blue, black, and white, and I've been really liking it. And there's a lot to learn still yet. I find myself reaching for it more and wanting to practice it with them. But before, I did not want to even touch oil paints, and plus the long dry time, right? It's like, oh, there was that. But yeah, that is wrath for me, oil paints. And the next one is gluttony. Now, gluttony is an item that you just can't get enough of, even though you bought it or you probably have everything of it, you just keep buying it. So that one thing for me, well, it's a few things, but it's kind of one group of things, which is pens. I love pens. I buy so many pens, even though I don't really need or could probably use all these pens in my entire life. But you know, when you see that nice pen or that nice color or that different tip, you just want to buy them all. So currently, this is my pen collection of my colored gel pens only, okay? And I separated them in these little acrylic containers, and I keep them behind me on my table back there. But yeah, see how many pens I have? I do use them, but not as much as I should. But I don't know, when you see that pen, I just really have a hard time saying no to pens. And that stretches further to just gel pens. Let me put these down here. I've recently discovered my love for fountain pens, so that's a whole other thing. And you know what? I would say stationery supplies, because that's kind of runs the gamut of all the pens, paper, sticker, washi tape. I'll show you my washi tape collection. It's ridiculous. I mean, there are other people that probably have larger washi collections, but I only started collecting washi not that long ago, and for me to have that much, it's a lot.
So here is my washi collection. I have it sorted out by color, sort of. So these are my pinks, my reds and greens, blues, purple, blacks, and white and silver and gold washies. So yeah, that's quite a bit of washies here. I have them in these bins here. It's in this, it's a condiment caddy actually. So it actually works out perfect. So I have some of my supplies on the top here, which I don't use very often, but I still use it more than my color pencils. And and just to go over some of the ones my favorite ones in here are like my 1 ton in a million washies here. These are super cute, especially that hot chocolate collection that she came out with just recently for the holidays. Got my paper and milk ones in here, which is really pretty. And then I think this was 1 ton, yeah, 1 ton in a million. She had these month washies, so you can rip them out month by month and use them in your bullet journals, so you don't have to write them over every time. And then yeah, there's a whole bunch in here, probably more than, oh, and my little KFC man, I really like him. Can you see that? My KFC chicken guy, love this guy. And I picked this washi up. It says under construction, from a local art supply store, just because I thought it was cute and it was on sale. But anyway, yeah, that's my ridiculous washi collection.
And of course, stickers. Oh my god, I love food stickers. They're my favorite type of sticker. I need to start using my stickers because you can't just keep buying them and not using them, right? So, but that is my gluttony of, even though I have enough, I just can't help buying more. And now the next one is Pride, the art supply I'm most proud of in my collection. That's kind of hard to decide because I love all my art supplies equally. I use them for different things, so it's like kind of hard to say you love one more than the other or more proud of. But I guess if I had to pick one that's kind of unique is my poster color collection. Oh my god, it's heavy. This is my poster. This is my poster color collection. I pretty much have all the colors. Let me just put this down. It's so heavy. I have all the colors of the Pentel poster colors. So my sister right now is in Japan, and I had asked her to send me all the different colors that they had. So, you know, some of these you can't get online. So you have this like this hot pink color, and let's see, there's a whole bunch. I got all the neon colors and all the different browns and blacks and whites. Oh wait, and then I also got my knicker poster colors. So I do use these, and I love painting with poster color. That was my first medium I really got back into when I got back into art. So, and they also have poster colors in large tubes because people use this color quite a lot. So this is that fleshy peach color, I guess. And I wanted her to send me a big tube of this along with a white, which is on its way because I tend to use that color a lot for mixing and stuff like that. So yes, I guess the art supply I'm most proud of is my poster color collection. Now the next sin is lust, and that is for an art supply that you really want, but you can't justify spending the money on because it's just too expensive. And that for me are fountain pens, because I just recently got into fountain pens, and once you write with a fountain pen, the whole experience of writing with a fountain pen really changes how you write, and it's just you have to try it, you know. And some people don't care, they think it's just like another pen, but for the really pen enthusiasts, fountain pen is the way to go. And there's so many different tip styles, tip materials, and you know, materials that the bodies are made out of, that there's just so many. And it's not like one pen fits all. You have to really try them and see like which one works for you. Currently, this is my fountain pen collection, and these are just the ones that are nicer, not the really cheapo single-use throwaway kind. So these are my current fountain pen collection. I did talk about my Harry Potter fountain pens that I got. These are like a cheaper one, plastic body with just a plain metal nib, nothing special, and it just has Harry Potter prints on the outside. This is my Slytherin pen, and I loaded it with my Diamine shimmer ink or sheen ink. And before, I was getting a lot of extra fine and fine nibs, because I use those to write a lot with. And so right now, currently, I only have a few pens that are like the wider nib pens, which are these two here. This is just like a Chinese Amazon, whatever, but it works really well, so as far as writing experience goes, this works just as well. But my most expensive fountain pen I have is this one here. This is my Christmas gift from my sister, and it is a retractable Pilot pen. So it doesn't have a cap that you normally would pull off on a fountain pen. It has a retractable nib, and it's an extra fine nib. Goes back in like that. Really cool. And it has a clip like this because when you store it or you put it in your pocket, you want to make sure the ink stays upwards like this, because if it's like this, the ink will possibly leak out. And so the only problem or complaint I have about this pen is that the little clip, it kind of gets in the way when I write, because not everybody holds their pen the same way. And so when I write, I tend to hold it a little bit tilted to the side, so it does get in my way. But now when I use this pen, I recognize that and I work my way around it so I can still use the pen. But I really love how it's heavy. It has a lot of weight to it, and when you click it, it just has a solid click. It's not like a cheapy hollow pen, like those click pens. This is a really nice pen, and it was a gift, probably my most expensive pen I have in my collection to date. And yeah, I can't justify spending money on a more expensive pen, at least right now, because I guess it depends on how much of an enthusiast you are, because the pen itself, whether it's a cheaper fountain or a more expensive fountain, the materials are pretty similar as far as the writing mechanism of it. The nib might be different, where one is maybe stainless steel or gold plated, or solid gold plated, and they have their variances and differences between how they write. But as far as writing experience goes, it's pretty similar. The solid gold nibs are softer, so they bend or flex a little more, so that's something to keep into consideration. If you like something that has like a really solid tip and you want to bear down really hard on it, then don't go with the gold. But what makes these pens expensive is not only the type of nib you have, but also the housing in it, and like what kind of materials they use, what's the process they use to make the housing. And expensive material, is it just plastic, so there's all those things. And this one's weighted, so because it has like a metal housing, so if you want something lightweight, then yeah, the plastic ones are fine. But if you want something that feels solid in your hand, then you want to get a little bit more expensive one. And their thicknesses vary too, so I noticed that the more expensive ones have a thicker body, so people with larger hands can hold them more easier, which is kind of like me. I like thicker bodied pens. The really thin ones are okay, but I tend to have a harder time holding it than with a thicker bodied pen. So I can't justify buying a more expensive one, because I have this one, but they're all so pretty. You just want to get another one, and it's so beautiful. But anyway, that is Lust. Oh, and one more thing with Lust. There's this one art item that I'll probably never get in my lifetime. It would be really cool to have, but it's not something I would be like upset about if I never get it. And those are those LV or Gucci color pencil pouches. And again, totally not necessary, totally not needed to make fine art. It's just really cool, like I've seen other YouTubers, I guess, reviewing them to see how well the color pencils work versus, Crayola or standard color pencils or whatever. And so as far as the color pencil quality, it's not worth it to pay $700, $800 or $1,200 for those pencils. But the pouch is really cool. I haven't seen one in person myself, but I was thinking that would be a really cool pen case where you could put your nice expensive pens in it. That might be cool. But I'm not sure how big the little pouches are for each pencil. So there's that too. It might not fit. But yeah, that's one thing that'd be really cool to have. It's expensive, like ridiculous expensive, but maybe one day in the future if I see a used one lying around. But it's pretty cool, lust-worthy, I guess. And the next one is Envy. Now, Envy for me would be a art supply that somebody else has in their collection that I want. And for me, that would be Chloe Rose. I watched her recent video about her review on the Karen acrylic brush tip pens. I did get a few from my Universe of Markers blind box, and I really enjoyed using these pens. It's a different experience. They're really fun. The colors are beautiful. They're not super opaque. but some are more opaque than others from what her review said. And she got the whole collection. I think the whole collection runs between $250 to $350 depending where you buy it. And if you think about it, that's cheaper than buying a nice fountain pen, you know? So maybe I should buy these instead of the fountain pen. But I don't have, these are all the Karen pens I have in my collection, and that'd be really cool to have the whole collection, but I can't justify buying it right now because, you know, I'm working on some other things, and I don't know if I would make use of them, you know, all of them as it should be. But yeah, that's something really cool I'd love to have in my collection one day. And the last deadly sin is sloth. And that would be for me an art supply that I totally neglect or not take care of. And if it were an item that I just don't use very often, that would be my iPad. I love this thing. I love that I bought it, you know, and I do use it once in a while, but I'm more of a traditional media artist versus like a digital. I mean, I tried dabbling in digital, and I do want to do more of it in the future, but for right now, I'm just going to work on getting better at the regular stuff before I jump into digital media. But that's one supply that I have that I totally neglect or don't use. And another supply that I hardly use is my Cameo. I guess the Cameo would be considered more than one sin. It was a supply that I really needed to have. I thought I needed it, and I just don't use it as much as I thought I would. And that's not to say I won't use it in the future. Just currently, as of this recording, I don't use it that much, and I really wish I did use it more. And that goes to, you know, learning more digital media, so I could utilize maybe the digital media to use the Cameo with to make stickers and all these other things, but I just haven't gotten there yet. So one day I'll get there, but right now it's sitting there looking pretty, but hardly gets used. And if we're talking about traditional art supplies, my most neglected or item I don't take care of are my painting plates. These are my painting plates. I have a few of them that I use. They're actually samples from a commercial plate company that we represent for my other job. And yeah, I don't wash them as much as I should. And that's partly because I'm cheap when it comes to the paint, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to waste it. It's still good. I can rehydrate it and use it, which is true, you can, but I haven't painted with this medium in a while, so I really should just wash it because it does attract bugs. Just note, roaches like this stuff. You know, in Hawaii, you just live with roaches. It's not like I have roaches crawling all over my house all the time or in the millions, but you know, every once in a while you'll see that roach, and then when you smash it and you see it has blue guts, you know it got to the blue paint. Or white guts, it got to the white paint. So just a note, roaches do eat paint and pigments. But yeah, I really should take care of these more. And that there is my 7 deadly sins of my art supply collection. Do you agree with me on some of these? Are some of these art supplies something that you wish you had or neglect, or you know, thought you liked but didn't like so much? Comment down below. I'd like to know what your 7 deadly sins of your art supply collection is. And thank you so much for joining me on my art break. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And with that said, this art break is done. Bye guys.